Hello, my dearlings. Welcome to the pleasure community. I am Tabitha, and I will be your facilitator for this amazing adventure on helping you rediscover, redefine, and unleash your pleasure, the most transformational fuel of your life. Pleasure is amazing. We all want it. So I am joining you from the farm where my beloved horse stays. And I was going to do this video live, but the signal is a little spotty out here. So I'm just going to do it this way and then upload it. So what I want to talk about in this first video with you is what pleasure is and where the fuck did it go? So in some of the posts that you may have seen on Facebook and, building this up, the definition of pleasure is an act, anything that brings you joy, satisfaction, gratification, fulfillment, basically those yummy feel-good feelings. That is the definition of pleasure. It could be a physical act, it could be a conversation, it could be an exchange of energy with someone, anything that triggers that sense of delight. That is pleasure. So where does it go? How do we lose pleasure? What happens? Well, this is where a little bit of the feminine and masculine energy comes into play. And using these principles is something that I do in all of my work, whether it's healing, business work, relationship work. You cannot escape feminine and masculine. You cannot escape the balance, the polarity that happens between the two nonstop. So within every one of us, there is a balance of feminine and masculine energy. It's what creates life. It is literally life force energy. In Eastern, they would call it the yin and the yang. And I guess Western, we would call it feminine and masculine. There are different names for it all over the place, but you've still got these two different types of energy. And feminine energy is all about intuition. It is about emotion. It is about everything creative, like the thought of life, the giving of life. It is all that yummy creative magic. And it doesn't tend to like being contained. It likes to be very free-flowing, very all over the place, kind of chaotic. And that is the beauty of feminine energy, is it's really unleashable. So it is the spark that fuels everything, that beautiful feminine magic. You've got the masculine, which is all about action. It is logic. It's got to make sense. The difference between the two is definitely the right brain, left brain kind of battle going on there. So masculine energy wants to make something happen. So it is not just the spark of it, it is the combustion of the spark that then turns it into something else. And the masculine is also very self-oriented, where the feminine is very we-oriented, about creating connections, and the masculine tends to be singular in its focus. So when you have a disconnect between the two, where you get way too stuck in one or way too stuck in the other, you tend to have all sorts of stuff happen in your life that makes it just go crazy. For example, the feminine, if you're way too stuck in your feminine energy, you may be way too codependent on other people. You may be too much of a people pleaser to the point that you don't even know how to think about yourself anymore. You've lost your sense of boundaries. You've lost your sense of self. You've become way too consumed with the needs of other people. Unhealthy feminine is incredibly martyristic. And then you've got the off-balance masculine, which can become so self-focused that it excludes the ability to even consider another person's thoughts, another person's feelings. And you end up becoming hard. You end up becoming a little bit bitter sometimes, definitely consuming. Everything is all about you. So those are just a couple examples that I tend to see in relationships. But that's an extreme example of way off-center feminine and way off-center masculine, is all kinds of craziness where you have no boundaries or you have too hard boundaries, where you think too much about others or not enough about others. And when you have this stuff off, you really lose the ability to experience any kind of healthy form of pleasure. I'm having all kinds of bugs visit me while I'm talking. So you can lose the ability to receive pleasure when you're too stuck in the unhealthy feminine, because you're not thinking about yourself. You're continually thinking about other people. And stuck in the masculine, you lose the ability to give pleasure, because it's all about taking, conquering, consuming. So here is the battle of balance, which can annihilate your ability to maintain pleasure, is how do you know how to receive it and give it? How do you know how to let it move towards you and stop trying to block it and rejecting it because you don't want to put anybody out? Or how do you know when to say, okay, you're giving too much, like, stop now, relax, you're overdoing it. This is where the balance comes in. So this is all a lot of kooky stuff, and I'm known to ramble, and I did just have a latte. So I will end the feminine and masculine conversation there and move into the next piece of, like, where are you feeling yourself lose it? So just think for a minute the different areas of your life. So you've got the main chunk, which is your physical health, you've got your relationship health, you've got your financial health, and you've got your spiritual health. So in these four main areas, how are you doing in those? And in the questionnaire that you filled out when you came in here, you got a brief glimpse of really feeling that out between, like, the 1 and the 5 scale. And most of you guys were pretty much in the middle, but I want you to think about it a little bit more. Like, really, where are you feeling pleasure in these areas? Are you feeling pleasure with your health, or are you not? Are you feeling it in your relationships, or maybe not? Are you feeling it in your spirituality? And this doesn't necessarily have to equate to religion. It's really just, how do you feel about your connection to spirit, your connection to yourself, to the universe, to life around you. It's a pretty free-form area. So how do you feel about finances? Because that's another huge barometer of how are you doing in life, your ability to manifest things, your ability to be sustained and fed. So really dive into those. How is your pleasure meter doing in those areas? Notice where you're feeling it and where you're not. And then explore that a little bit deeper. Why? Why are you maybe not experiencing pleasure in those areas? And can you identify when that stopped? So this is the simple homework that I want you to take out today, is grab a piece of paper, write these categories down, and really explore, how do you feel about that now? When did that change? And what would you like that to be like? So explore that a little bit. If you feel like you need a little bit of help getting the grasp of what that might look like, I will try to post my own examples in the comments, because I don't want this video to take too long, because we all have busy lives to lead. But yes, communicate all of your thoughts, all of your desires, all of your everything about this exercise. How do you want your pleasure to be? How is it? When did it stop? And if you've never really had the level of pleasure you want, you can say that too. So my dears, I'm going to wrap that up here, and I will chat with you more in the Facebook group. So yes, if you haven't already made your intro, go ahead and make that, because we want to know who you are. And if you have any other friends, any other ladies that you think could benefit from this, go ahead and bring them into the group. They can either follow the Google link, or they can just hop on in, and I will have them check out the survey later. Either way, come on, the more the merrier. Bring them on. And I will talk to you in the Facebook chat. Mwah.